Okay, so our lower legs actually, our legs glued up really nice. It's super solid. Um, I don't think this thing is indestructible by any means, but it's pretty darn close. And you can see from the kind of outline I have on the paper here that while my distance apart was a little off, I ended up getting my overall angle of the feet really close to where I wanted it. He's set, so he's got a little bit more of his weight back on his right leg. Um, and that knee is slightly more bent than the left. Left is a little bit more forward, turned out a little bit. So hopefully you can actually tell, and it has a sense of weight to it once it's finished. At least that's the idea. But now, with some really good super glue, I am going to put the rest of these pieces on. And no armor at this point. We're not doing any armor yet. All of this will need to be painted before we put all of the armor pieces on. So we'll paint up all the armor pieces separately. So that we can get to everything. Otherwise, once all the armor's on, we can't get to this stuff very well. Makes it really hard to paint. And we want to definitely have a bunch of different metallics in here. This guy's going to end up being part of the Iron Warriors. So, right, their paint scheme is pretty straightforward, but there's going to be a lot of hazard stripes on the armor, so that'll be a lot easier to paint separately. All right, now though, we're going to get to hopefully a spot, I think right here, where we can attach these pistons. These pistons, two parts, will go right below the body here. So it'll attach and connect the hips from here into the leg. So I believe I'm going to test fit here and make sure I can actually get both of these in, because depending on the leg positions, if the piston portion is too long, we can just trim it down a little bit to make sure that everything actually fits in. Okay, so this one not going to quite fit in there. So this one I'm going to need to take off maybe 1/16 from the end of this piston. So I should just be able to trim that down a little. Right about that. It's probably more like 1/8, but that should actually give me better clearance. Then let me check that. All right, that's good. I'll actually have to extend the piston slightly to get it into the opening, so that's perfect. And that one fits in there really nice. So this one I'm going to take out and just put a drop of super glue into each of those cavities. Then this piece should sit in really nicely. I just want to make sure that as I stand them up, this cable is hanging as close to straight down as we can get it. And that looks nice. Everything's set into the glue pretty good. I'm not going to need an activator on that, right? We have a spray activator that we can make that set really quickly. Shouldn't be necessary. Right now. And after the other side sets up, I don't know, I might end up, I suppose, gluing or putting some super glue into the end of the piston as well. So the whole piston is actually glued in place. Let's see if I can get in here. Get close. Not enough hands. All right, now. All right, we got it this time. Goodness. All right, now I think we're good. Put just another drop right here. Just make sure we're in there. Again, just make sure as much as I can that the cables are hanging pretty close to straight down. And I think that looks pretty good. All right, then it's going to be similar for the back of the legs with our larger pistons. Maybe just to be safe here, we're going to hit that super glue with a little bit of accelerant. Turn that off to the side. And what that does is basically makes the super glue set pretty much instantly. Get a little piece of paper towel. It evaporates pretty fast, but it makes the super glue set instantly, so then I don't have to worry about that, kind of coming out of there at all while I work on anything else. All right, now, again, for the back of the legs. Now, I'm almost positive one of these is going to need to be trimmed. So, it's going to go with the large side up, small side down. All right, that one looks really good. And this one, yep, it's too short. So, what I'm actually going to have to do is we'll take that one, and I think what I can do, I'm actually going to have to trim a little bit from this collar right here. That'll work out just fine. So, I don't think you'll notice. And I could do it to both, but I'm actually just going to trim some of that smaller section out of there. So before I do that, I'll go ahead and actually get this one glued in. And for that, I'll actually just put a drop of super glue inside. I don't want to deal with the super fine tip, so every once in a while, if a little too much is coming out, just use a bit of paper towel, clean that off. And I definitely don't want big gobs of super glue everywhere. And again, this one, I don't need to glue the piston yet, but I might at some point. So we'll set that in. Oh, come on. There we go. Actually fits in there really nicely. All right, now this guy. Let's cut this off quick. I'm just going to cut it right here at the base. Actually, let's cut this first. It'll make life a lot easier, because otherwise, once the other piece is cut off, well, that's going to be really difficult to hold on to. So we'll cut the collar off. Nice and clean. Not lose that. All right, then I'll just cut it off right up here. Now, this piece will end up going back on the end, along with, and I think I'm just going to be able to put it all together. That's going to have to be cut a lot shorter. So we'll cut this off. I'm not quite sure how deep that is, but we'll take this one off right about here. Just make sure there's enough space in there to glue. Go back right there. And now that, once that's all attached and glued together, should not be noticeably different from the other side. Hopefully it all fits together. Still just want to test fits. Oh yeah, now that fits down in there beautifully. All right, that'll work. That'll center up just fine. All right, let's pull that back out. A little bit of glue in there. Super glue is great for all this stuff. Super glue might be a little brittle compared to like an epoxy. But for this kind of thing, it should actually be quite perfect. What I'm sticking to down there. All right. All right, now I'm going to put a little bit right into the ring here. And that should wick down in there really nicely. So we'll get the excess out. Try to make sure it's centered. Where's my tweezers? All right. That looks really good right there. All right, now we'll do a little bit of the zip kicker. Little zip kicker overspray there. All right, all that looks great. Let's close up our super glue here. All right, those pistons look really nice. There's very little chance that it's a little bit noticeable, but you'd have to look for it. Pretty cool. All right, now we've got some bigger cables that go. Well, in my opinion, the directions are out of order there. They go from the post or the pin on the back there to Where? To the little gap right here. All right, so that shouldn't be too bad, but might have been nicer to set that in without this piston in the way. All right, and that'll actually work out fine right there. The other side may or may not. And if it does, nope, it'll be fine too. If necessary, we just use some like hot water and we can bend these and change the shape a little bit to get them where we need them to go. All right, so let's get these in position. Okay. There we go. Actually, should just be able to glue all four. All right, now it's going to be this side. Hold that for just a sec. Let's go the other way. Sometimes it's just a matter of trying to figure out how to hold it in order to be able to reach what you need to reach. All right, that looks pretty good. Both of these need to be set in just a little more. All right, those actually. That does not want to take. There we go. I need just another drop. All right. All right, I think that looks very nice. I think that's some really cool detail in there. All right, and then the last pieces we're going to attach now are these toe pistons, and these should actually go in really easily. So should just be able to put a drop of super glue, and maybe we'll do this the easy way, and just put like a little puddle of super glue on the parchment paper here, so I can dip the ends into it and then to set it in place. I don't know if that's going to be the best way or not. I don't know. Probably not, actually. I don't want to make a mess with the super glue like that. So I'm just going to put a little glue on the ball of each end here. It'll be right about there and right about there. And those can just get set into place. And then as I hold it in here, I'm just looking to line it up. That looks pretty good. And then I hit it as I turned. Right, and I do definitely want to make sure that these are kind of aimed the right direction, because that's going to be what holds the armor on. That's good. All right, so I just have 6 more of these to do. And then after that, well, we're not going to worry about any of the armor right now. But after that, when we turn the page here, it has us starting on the cockpit. The command throne. So we have a replacement part for that. Here, let's cap the super really quick. And our replacement part for that, actually, I think we can see now if I zoom. I think you can actually see detail in here. That's going to be our cockpit. And the really strange thing about this entire kit is, even though it does come with a command throne, once it's all put together, like, the entire carapace is attached so that you would never see the command throne again. So we're not going to do it quite that way. We're going to find a way. Not sure exactly how yet. I have some ideas. But we are going to open the carapace so that our cockpit here and the door to the cockpit will be able to open and close, and we can see our character on the inside. Now, my goal is, even we have some instrument panels on the front here. My goal, see if you can see those with the instrument panels, to actually try to get some lights behind some of those, instruments, whatever they might actually be, so that when you do take a look inside, you can see. I don't know. So we'll see. We got a lot of plans for this guy, and we're definitely going to have some lighting. Hopefully the cockpit can actually be lit. But now, essentially, all I'm going to do is put on the rest of the toe pistons, and then we'll be back in the next one with the next step of the build.